People only like the idea of me. They like the version of me they've created in their head. I don't know if you've ever felt this, but sometimes it feels like people fall in love with the idea of who you are before they ever get to know who you actually are. At first it feels good. Someone seems interested in you. They want to talk to you. They ask questions. They seem excited to get to know you. And for a little while it makes you feel seen. But then something changes. As they start learning more about you, that excitement begins to fade. Not because you've changed, because their image of you has. And I've experienced that enough times to start wondering if people are ever interested in the real me, or if they're just interested in the version of me they imagine. I think that's a painful question to ask yourself, because everybody wants to be understood. Not admired, not idealized, but understood. Being admired feels good for a little while, but being understood feels safe. And lately I've realized I've spent a lot of my life being admired for things that don't actually represent who I am. People tell me I'm always calm. They tell me I'm easygoing. They tell me I never seem stressed. They tell me I have everything together. And every time I hear those things, I smile. But inside I'm thinking, you don't actually know me. You know the version of me that I've gotten really good at showing people. You know the version that doesn't complain. The version that jokes around. The version that's always willing to listen. And the version that doesn't make things complicated. But that's not all I am. There are parts of me that almost nobody sees. The parts that overthink everything. The parts that stay awake way too late because my mind won't slow down. The parts that question whether I'm enough. The parts that need reassurance but don't know how to ask for it. The parts that feel anxious for reasons I can't even explain. And sometimes I wonder if people would still like me if they met those parts too. Because it's easy to like someone who's easy. It's easy to like someone who doesn't ask for much. It's easy to like someone who's always there for everyone else. But what happens when that person has needs too? What happens when they're struggling? What happens when they're no longer the version you expected? I think that's where a lot of relationships change. Not because somebody became worse, but because they became real. And reality is always more complicated than fantasy. I've noticed this pattern throughout my life. People seem to like me the most before they actually know me. In the beginning, everything feels exciting. They fill in the blanks themselves. They assume things about me. They project qualities onto me that I never claimed to have. And honestly, I don't even think they realize they're doing it. I think we all do it. When you first meet someone, your brain naturally fills in the missing pieces. You create a version of them before they've had the chance to show you who they really are. The problem is that eventually reality catches up. Eventually they make mistakes. Eventually they disappoint you. Eventually they reveal parts of themselves that don't fit the picture you created. And that's when people start saying things like, "You've changed." When sometimes they haven't changed at all. You're just finally seeing them. I think about that a lot. Because there have been moments where I've felt guilty for not living up to someone's expectations. But then I realized something. Those expectations weren't mine. I never promised to be perfect. I never promised to always know what to say. I never promised to always be emotionally available. I never promised to never struggle. Those were just assumptions. And somehow I felt responsible for disappointing expectations that I never created. That's exhausting. Trying to live up to a version of yourself that only exists inside somebody else's mind. I don't think that's sustainable. Eventually the real you starts showing. It has to. You get tired. You have bad days. You become quieter. You set boundaries. You stop saying yes to everything. You admit you're struggling. You become, well, human. And that's when you find out who actually cares. Because some people only like you when you're easy to consume. When you're always positive, always available, always entertaining, or always agreeable. But the moment you become complicated, the moment you become inconvenient, the moment you ask for the same understanding you've been giving everyone else, something changes. And honestly, that hurts. Not because people leave. People leaving is part of life. What hurts is realizing they weren't connected to the real you in the first place. They were connected to a version of you that couldn't possibly exist forever. I realized that I've contributed to this too. I used to think it was entirely other people's fault. That they never really wanted to know me. But looking back, I wasn't exactly making it easy. I was constantly editing myself. Constantly trying to be the easiest version of me to love. I hid the parts that felt messy. the parts that felt emotional, the parts that felt uncertain. I thought if I only showed people the good parts, they'd stay. But the funny part is, doing that almost guarantees they'll never actually know you. Because they're building a relationship with a highlight reel, not a person. And eventually you start feeling lonely inside relationships that technically still exist. People appreciate you, they enjoy being around you, they care about you, but somehow you still feel unseen, because they only know the version you've carefully curated. Not the person who's lying awake at 2 in the morning and questioning everything. Not the person who sometimes feels completely overwhelmed. Not the person who needs comfort just as much as anyone else. And I think that's one of the loneliest experiences a person can have. Being loved for a version of yourself that isn't entirely real. Because now you're stuck. If you keep pretending, you'll continue feeling unknown. If you stop pretending, you're terrified they'll leave. It's a painful place to exist. I think that's why vulnerability feels so risky. It's not just about showing people your flaws. It's about risking the possibility that the version they imagine won't survive contact with reality. And honestly, sometimes it doesn't. Some people leave. Some people lose interest. Some people realize you aren't who they expected. For a long time, I blamed myself for that. I thought maybe I should have tried harder. Maybe I should have stayed the version they liked. Maybe I should have been easier. But lately I've started looking at it differently. Maybe the goal was never to keep people attached to an idea. Maybe the goal is to find people who can love reality. Because reality is always going to be imperfect. I'm going to have bad days. I'm going to overthink. I'm going to get things wrong. I'm going to need reassurance sometimes. I'm going to be quiet sometimes. I'm going to be difficult to understand sometimes. That's what being human looks like. If somebody only loves me when I'm perfectly composed, then they don't really love me. They love my performance. And performances aren't meant to last forever. Eventually the curtain comes down. Eventually you get tired. Eventually you stop pretending. I think that's something I've been learning lately. The right people don't fall in love with the fantasy. They stay when the fantasy disappears. They stay when life gets ordinary. When conversations become quieter. When you stop trying to impress them. When they see your fears, your insecurities, your habits, your imperfections, they don't expect you to become less human. They simply know you more deeply. And maybe that's what real connection actually is. Not finding somebody who loves the best version of you. Finding somebody who knows the whole picture and chooses you anyway. Because the truth is, I don't want people to like the idea of me anymore. I don't want to spend my life trying to maintain an image that's impossible to live up to. I don't want relationships that only work as long as I keep performing. I want people to know me, the real me, the quiet version, the insecure version, the version that doesn't always know what he's doing, the version that's still figuring life out, the version that's made mistakes, the version that's healing, because that's the only version that's actually capable of being loved. Everything else is just a character, and I'm getting tired of playing one.